For our viewers, Little House on the Prairie was more than a TV show. It felt like coming home. Every episode brought lessons about love, family, hardship, and hope. But as the years passed, the lives of the cast changed in ways no one watching Walnut Grove could have imagined. Some found lasting fame, some faced heartbreaking struggles, and some beloved faces are no longer with us. Now, let's look back at where the cast went after the Prairie faded from the screen. Michael Landon, born on October 31, 1936, became the heart of Little House on the Prairie at 37 years old as Charles Ingalls, the hard-working father who guided the Ingalls family through faith, love, and hardship. Strong, gentle, and deeply principled, Charles was the kind of television father American families trusted. He could build a home, protect his children, and still show the quiet emotion that made Pa feel human. Away from Walnut Grove, Michael Landon was already beloved from Bonanza and later created Highway to Heaven. On Little House, he also shaped the series as a writer, director, and producer. Michael Landon passed away on July 1, 1991, at the age of 54 after battling pancreatic cancer. His death came far too soon and deeply affected fans who had grown up with his warmth on screen. Charles Ingalls remains one of television's most cherished father figures. Michael Landon gave the series its moral center, leaving behind a legacy of kindness, strength, and family love. Katherine MacGregor, born on January 12, 1925, brought unforgettable energy to Little House on the Prairie at 49 years old as Harriet Olsen, the proud store owner of Walnut Grove. Bossy, nosy, and hilariously dramatic, Harriet could have been only an annoying neighbor. Instead, Katherine gave her comic timing, insecurity, and flair, turning Mrs. Olsen into the woman fans love to hate. Away from Walnut Grove, Katherine began her career on stage and worked in theater before finding her defining television role. Her sharp delivery and theatrical reactions made Harriet one of the show's most memorable characters. Katherine MacGregor died on November 13, 2018, at the age of 93. Her cause of death was not publicly disclosed, but she spent her later years away from the Hollywood spotlight. Harriet Olsen still makes audiences laugh because Katherine understood the comedy inside pride and vanity. She made Walnut Grove louder, brighter, and far more entertaining every time she appeared. Richard Bull, born on June 26, 1924, brought quiet dignity to Walnut Grove at 50 years old as Nels Olsen, the patient husband of Harriet and father of Nellie and Willie. Calm, fair, and often trapped between family loyalty and common sense, Nels became the gentle balance inside the Olsen household. While Harriet exploded with pride and drama, he gave the store, and the town, a softer moral voice. Before becoming Nels, Richard had worked steadily in film, stage, and television. He was known for roles in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, The Andromeda Strain, and many guest appearances that made him a familiar character actor. Richard Bull died on February 3, 2014, at the age of 89. His cause of death was not widely reported, but fans remembered him as one of the show's warmest and most dependable presences. Nels Olsen still feels beloved because Richard played him with restraint and kindness. In a family full of noise, he gave Walnut Grove a quiet decency that audiences never forgot. Kevin Hagen, born on April 3, 1928, became one of Walnut Grove's most trusted faces at 46 years old as Dr. Hiram Baker, the town doctor everyone turned to in moments of fear and hope. Steady, compassionate, and deeply human, Doc Baker carried many of the series' most emotional scenes. He was not just there to treat illness. He often brought comfort when families were facing heartbreak, loss, or impossible choices. Away from Walnut Grove, Kevin had a long acting career with appearances in Gunsmoke, Bonanza, MASH, The Twilight Zone, and many westerns and dramas. His strong, grounded presence made him a natural fit for authority figures and caring professionals. Kevin Hagen passed away on July 9, 2005, at the age of 77 after a battle with cancer, reported as esophageal cancer. He spent his later years in Oregon and continued performing on stage before his death. Doc Baker remains one of the show's most comforting characters. Kevin Hagen gave him the rare warmth of someone audiences believed could walk into any home and bring a little calm with him. Dabbs Greer, born on April 2, 1917, brought spiritual warmth to the Prairie at 57 years old as Reverend Robert Alden, the minister who guided Walnut Grove through faith and community. Gentle, patient, and quietly wise, Reverend Alden gave the town a moral heartbeat. He was there for weddings, funerals, arguments, forgiveness, and the moments when families needed more than practical answers. Beyond the church scenes, Dabbs Greer had one of the longest character actor careers in American television. He appeared in nearly 100 films and around 600 television episodes, including Gunsmoke, Perry Mason, and later The Green Mile. Dabbs Greer passed away on April 28, 2007, at the age of 90. Reports said he died at Huntington Hospital in Pasadena, after a life spent giving quiet strength to countless supporting roles. Reverend Alden's legacy lives in the calm he brought to Walnut Grove. Dabbs Greer made faith feel humble, kind, and deeply human, which is why his presence still feels like home to many fans. Victor French, born on December 4, 1934, brought rugged warmth to Walnut Grove at 39 years old as Isaiah Edwards, the rough-edged friend who became like family to the Ingalls. Bearded, loud, loyal, and deeply wounded underneath, Mr. Edwards was more than comic relief or frontier muscle. He could make viewers laugh with a song, then break their hearts with the loneliness he carried inside. Away from the prairie, Victor had a strong career in westerns and television, often playing tough men with a dangerous edge. He also worked closely with Michael Landon again on Highway to Heaven, both as an actor and director. Victor French died on June 15, 1989, at the age of 54 after being diagnosed with lung cancer. His death came only a few years after Highway to Heaven ended. Mr. Edwards still feels unforgettable because Victor played him with grit and tenderness at the same time. He gave Walnut Grove one of its most human souls, rough on the outside, but full of love where it mattered. Karl Swenson, born on July 23, 1908, gave early Walnut Grove its founding spirit at 66 years old as Lars Hansen, the town's respected mill owner and elder voice. Quiet, firm, and old-fashioned in the best way, Lars represented the roots of the community. He was not flashy, but his presence made the town feel older, stronger, and built by people who had sacrificed for it. Before the Prairie became part of his legacy, Karl had worked across radio, stage, film, and television. His long career included westerns, dramas, and voice work, giving him the kind of seasoned authority that fit Lars perfectly. Karl Swenson died on October 8, 1978, at the age of 70. Reports list his cause of death as a heart attack, and his final episodes aired around the same period, making his farewell feel especially poignant. Lars Hansen remains a symbol of Walnut Grove's foundation. Karl Swenson gave the role quiet strength, making the town feel like a place with memory, history, and a soul. Hersha Parody, born on May 25, 1945, brought warmth and emotional depth to the Prairie at 32 years old as Alice Garvey, the loving wife, mother, and schoolteacher. Kind, brave, and quietly strong, Alice was the kind of character who made Walnut Grove feel safe. Her gentleness never felt weak, it felt steady, especially in a town where families often faced grief, illness, and sudden loss. Beyond her time as Alice, Hersha appeared in television projects including The Waltons, Mannix, Unsolved Mysteries, and Kenan and Kel. She also had stage experience, giving her performance a grounded, heartfelt quality. Hersha Parody passed away on August 23, 2023, at the age of 78 after a battle with a brain tumor. Her son confirmed she had been struggling with meningioma before her death. Alice Garvey remains deeply remembered because her story carried real emotional weight. Hersha Parody gave the role tenderness, courage, and a sadness that still stays with longtime fans. Karen Grassle, born on February 25, 1942, brought quiet strength to the Prairie at 32 years old as Caroline Ingalls, the devoted mother everyone came to know as Ma. Gentle, practical, and emotionally steady, Caroline was the warmth inside the Ingalls home. She was not written as loud or dramatic, but her patience, faith, and fierce love made the family's struggles feel deeply human. Away from Walnut Grove, Karen trained in theater and later returned often to the stage. She also published her memoir, Bright Lights, Prairie Dust, sharing a more personal side of life behind the beloved series. Now 84, Karen Grassle has lived a quieter public life, while remaining closely associated with the role that made her known around the world. Her later years have been shaped more by reflection, writing, and occasional appearances than by constant Hollywood work. Caroline Ingalls still feels like one of television's most comforting mothers. Karen Grassle gave her grace without weakness, creating a character whose love felt simple, firm, and unforgettable. Rachel Lindsay Greenbush, born on May 25, 1970, shared the role of Carrie Ingalls at just 3 years old, alternating on screen with her twin sister Sidney Greenbush. Small, innocent, and often watching the world around her, Carrie gave the Ingalls family its youngest tenderness. She did not carry the biggest storylines, but her presence made the family feel fuller, softer, and more real. After leaving the Prairie, Lindsay and Sidney stepped away from acting and returned to a more normal life, including public school. Their shared role became one of the most recognizable examples of twins playing one child on classic television. Today, Rachel Lindsay Greenbush is 56 and has remained mostly outside the entertainment spotlight. Her story is tied less to a long Hollywood career and more to the unusual childhood experience of growing up on one of America's most beloved family shows. Carrie Ingalls remains part of the show's gentle memory. Through Lindsay and Sidney, viewers saw childhood on the frontier not as performance, but as something small, curious, and quietly precious. Alison Arngrim, born on January 18, 1962, became one of television's most memorable young troublemakers at 12 years old as Nellie Olsen, the spoiled daughter fans loved to hate. Bratty, dramatic, and deliciously awful, Nellie brought instant conflict to Walnut Grove. She could be cruel, funny, jealous, and ridiculous, but Alison played her with such fearless energy that the character became iconic. Beyond the curls and tantrums, Alison built a career as an actress, author, comedian, and public speaker. She wrote about her life in Confessions of a Prairie Bitch and became an advocate for AIDS awareness and child protection causes. Currently 64, Alison Arngrim remains active through performances, interviews, fan events, and advocacy work. Her public life has turned a famous villain role into a platform for humor, survival, and speaking out. Nellie Olsen still works because she is impossible to forget. Alison Arngrim gave Walnut Grove its sharpest young antagonist and somehow made being hated by audiences feel like a lasting badge of honor. Dean Butler, born on May 20, 1956, brought quiet frontier charm to the series at 25 years old as Almanzo James Wilder, the man who would become Laura Ingalls' husband. Kind, steady, and a little old-fashioned, Almanzo gave Laura's story a new emotional chapter. He was not just a romantic interest. He represented adulthood, partnership, and the difficult choices that came after childhood on the prairie. Away from Walnut Grove, Dean continued acting in projects such as The New Gidget and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He later became a producer and documentary filmmaker, including work connected to Laura Ingalls Wilder's legacy. Now 70, Dean Butler is known today as both a former actor and a storyteller behind the camera. His book Prairie Man also helped him reflect on life before and after the role that made him famous. Almanzo remains important because he helped the show grow with Laura. Dean Butler gave him a gentle confidence, making the romance feel less like a fairy tale and more like a partnership built through time. Matthew Lebiorto, born on December 8, 1966, joined the Prairie at 12 years old as Albert Quinn Ingalls, the adopted son who brought new emotion into the Ingalls family. Sensitive, troubled, and deeply lovable, Albert carried some of the show's most painful storylines. He could be mischievous and warm, but his struggles also gave the series a harder look at grief, addiction, illness, and belonging. Away from the Prairie, Matthew continued acting and later built a strong voice career. He worked in animation, video games, and television, becoming known to younger audiences through roles far removed from Albert Ingalls. Today, Matthew Lebiorto is 59 and has kept a lower public profile than many former child stars. His later work has focused more on voice acting than constant on-screen attention. Albert remains unforgettable because he brought vulnerability into a family viewers already loved. Matthew gave him the feeling of a child searching for home, and that emotional honesty still stays with fans. Charlotte Stewart, born on February 27, 1941, brought gentle schoolhouse grace to Walnut Grove at 33 years old as Eva Beadle, the teacher who helped shape the town's children. Patient, kind, and quietly firm, Miss Beadle represented the warmth of early classroom life. She was not a loud authority figure, but her calm presence made the school feel safe, hopeful, and full of possibility. Away from the schoolhouse, Charlotte built a varied career in film and television. She became known not only for Miss Beadle, but also for her work with director David Lynch, including Eraserhead and Twin Peaks. Currently 85, Charlotte Stewart remains a beloved figure to fans of both Prairie drama and cult cinema. Her memoir also gave readers a personal look at her unusual journey through Hollywood. Eva Beadle's legacy is gentle but lasting. Charlotte Stewart made her feel like the teacher many viewers wished they had: patient, decent, and remembered with real affection. Patrick LaBourteau, born on July 22, 1965, joined the Prairie at 10 years old as Andrew Andy Garvey, the young son of Jonathan and Alice Garvey. Curious, loyal, and full of boyhood energy, Andy helped bring a fresh child's point of view to Walnut Grove. His friendships, fears, and family moments made him feel like part of the town's emotional fabric. After his time as Andy, Patrick continued acting and later became widely known as Bud Roberts on JAG. He also appeared in the spin-off NCIS and built a steady career across television, film, and voice work. As of now 61, Patrick LaBourteau has kept a lower public profile than during his network television years. His later work has included writing, producing, and occasional appearances tied to classic TV nostalgia. Andy Garvey remains memorable because he belonged to one of the show's most emotional family arcs. Patrick gave him warmth and innocence, helping Walnut Grove feel younger, busier, and more alive. Melissa Sue Anderson, born on September 26, 1962, became part of television history at 11 years old as Mary Ingalls, Laura's older sister and one of the Ingalls family's most emotional characters. Graceful, serious, and quietly strong, Mary carried some of the series' most heartbreaking moments. Her blindness storyline asked young viewers to understand fear, courage, and change in a way few family shows dared to explore. Away from the Prairie, Melissa Sue Anderson worked in television movies, thrillers, and guest roles. She later wrote The Way I See It, a memoir reflecting on her years with the series and the life that followed. Today, Melissa Sue Anderson is 63 and lives a much quieter life than during her child star years. She became a Canadian citizen in 2007 and has made only occasional screen appearances in recent decades. Mary Ingalls still resonates because her story brought real pain into a family drama built on hope. Melissa gave the role dignity, restraint, and emotional honesty that fans continue to remember. Ketty Lester, born on August 16, 1934, brought grace and soulful strength to Walnut Grove at 43 years old as Hester Sue Terhune, the teacher connected to the blind school. Warm, dignified, and quietly powerful, Hester Sue added a deeper voice of care and wisdom to the series. She brought comfort to the children around her, but also carried the strength of a woman who had clearly lived through hardship. Before acting became her main path, Ketty was already a successful singer. Her 1961 hit, Love Letters, reached the top 5 in both the US and UK, and she later appeared in films and television before joining the Prairie cast. Currently 91, Ketty Lester is celebrated as both a singer and actress. In 2022, she was inducted into the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame, and in 2024, she attended the show's 50th anniversary reunion. Hester Sue remains special because Ketty Lester gave her quiet authority and emotional grace. Her presence added music, dignity, and compassion to a world already built on family and faith. Linwood Boomer, born on October 9, 1955, joined the Prairie at 23 years old as Adam Kendall, the kind teacher who became Mary Ingalls' husband. Thoughtful, patient, and deeply supportive, Adam brought a mature emotional layer to Mary's story. His relationship with her was built on shared hardship, trust, and the belief that love could still grow after life had changed forever. After his acting years, Linwood found his biggest success behind the camera. He became a writer and producer, best known for creating Malcolm in the Middle, which earned him a Primetime Emmy for the pilot episode. Now 70, Linwood Boomer is known far more as a television creator than as a former actor. His later career turned a quiet Prairie role into only the beginning of a much larger impact on American comedy. Adam Kendall remains meaningful because he gave Mary's journey hope without making it simple. Linwood Boomer played him with calm sincerity, helping one of the show's hardest storylines feel tender and human. Bonnie Bartlett, born on June 20, 1929, brought warmth to Walnut Grove at 49 years old as Grace Snyder Edwards, the woman who became Isaiah Edwards' wife. Gentle, steady, and quietly affectionate, Grace softened Mr. Edwards' rougher edges. Her presence gave his story a sense of home, showing that even the most wounded characters could still find love, family, and peace. Beyond the Prairie, Bonnie built a long television career and later became widely admired for St. Elsewhere. She and her husband, William Daniels, won Emmy Awards on the same night in 1986, a rare Hollywood milestone for a married couple. Today, Bonnie Bartlett is 97 and retired from acting. In 2026, she and William Daniels celebrated their 75th wedding anniversary, a remarkable personal chapter that drew renewed attention from fans. Grace Snyder Edwards may not have been the loudest presence in town, but Bonnie made her feel sincere and comforting. Her character helped bring tenderness to one of Walnut Grove's most rugged love stories. Melissa Gilbert, born on May 8, 1964, became the face of the series at just 10 years old as Laura Ingalls, the spirited girl audiences came to know as Half Pint. Curious, stubborn, emotional, and brave, Laura carried the story through a child's eyes. She made the Prairie feel full of wonder, jealousy, mistakes, courage, and the painful lessons of growing up. Away from Walnut Grove, Melissa continued acting, wrote memoirs, served as president of the Screen Actors Guild, and later built a lifestyle brand called Modern Prairie. Her career stretched far beyond the role that made her famous. As of now, Melissa Gilbert is 62 and remains closely tied to the legacy of Laura Ingalls. In 2026, she visited the set of Netflix's new adaptation and was warmly received by the young actress playing Laura. Laura Ingalls endures because Melissa gave her honesty instead of perfection. She was messy, loving, fierce, and vulnerable, the kind of character who made generations feel like they had grown up beside her. Melissa Francis, born on December 12, 1972, joined the Prairie at 8 years old as Cassandra Cooper Ingalls, the orphaned girl later taken into the Ingalls family. Fragile, frightened, and deeply in need of love, Cassandra brought a softer heartbreak to the later seasons. Her story reminded viewers that family on the Prairie was not only about blood, but also about compassion, rescue, and second chances. After leaving childhood acting behind, Melissa took a very different path. She graduated from Harvard and later became known as a television journalist, financial commentator, and news anchor, building a career far outside the world of scripted family drama. Now 53, Melissa Francis has lived a public life shaped more by media and broadcasting than acting. Her journey from child star to news personality makes her one of the more unexpected transformations from the cast. Cassandra remains memorable because she arrived with sadness, innocence, and hope. Melissa Francis gave the role a vulnerable quality that helped the Ingalls home feel open to children who had nowhere else to go. Kyle Richards, born on January 11, 1969, joined the Prairie at 6 years old as Alicia Sanderson Edwards, the young girl adopted into the Edwards family. Sweet, small, and quietly emotional, Alicia gave Isaiah Edwards' story a more tender side. Her presence helped show that beneath his rough voice and frontier toughness, he had a deep need to protect and love a family of his own. Away from Walnut Grove, Kyle continued acting from childhood into adulthood, with roles in horror, television, and later reality entertainment. She became widely known to modern audiences through The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, turning early child star fame into a very different kind of celebrity. Today, Kyle Richards is 57 and remains active in television, business, and public life. Unlike many former child actors, she stayed visible for decades, shifting from scripted drama to reality TV and pop culture fame. Alicia may be a small part of the Prairie story, but Kyle's later career gives the role extra curiosity. Fans who know her from reality television often discover that her screen life began in a much gentler world. Pamela Roylance, born on March 27, 1952, joined the final chapter of the series at 30 years old as Sarah Reed Carter, the wife and mother who moved into the Ingalls home after the family left. Gentle, practical, and quietly determined, Sarah helped give the later episodes a new family center. She could never replace Caroline Ingalls in the hearts of longtime viewers, but she brought warmth and stability to a changing Walnut Grove. Before and after her Prairie role, Pamela worked steadily in television, with appearances across dramas and family programming. Her career included parts in shows such as The Love Boat, Hotel, and later projects that kept her connected to classic TV audiences. Currently 74, Pamela Roylance still receives attention from fans who remember the Carter family years. In recent interviews, she has reflected on the unusual path that brought her to the role and the challenges of joining such a beloved series near its end. Sarah Reed Carter remains tied to a difficult transition in the show's history. Pamela gave her sincerity and calm, helping the final season feel less like an ending and more like a new family trying to belong. Jason Bateman, born on January 14, 1969, joined the Prairie at 12 years old as James Cooper Ingalls, the orphaned boy later taken in by Charles and Caroline. Quiet, wounded, and searching for a place to belong, James brought a different kind of sadness to the later seasons. His story showed the Ingalls family opening their home again, not because life was easy, but because compassion was part of who they were. After his childhood acting years, Jason became one of the rare former child stars to build an even bigger adult career. He found lasting success with Arrested Development, Horrible Bosses, Ozark, and major film and streaming projects. Now 57, Jason Bateman remains highly active in Hollywood as an actor, director, and producer. His career today is defined less by child star nostalgia and more by sharp comedy, dark drama, and behind-the-camera control. James Cooper Ingalls was only one early chapter in his story. Jason Bateman's journey from Prairie child actor to award-winning modern star makes his transformation one of the most impressive in the cast. Shannon Doherty, born on April 12, 1971, joined the final era of the Prairie at 11 years old as Jenny Wilder, the young niece of Almanzo Wilder. Emotional, fragile, and often overwhelmed by loss, Jenny brought a more painful child's story into the later episodes. Her character gave the show another chance to explore grief, healing, and the need for family after tragedy. Beyond Walnut Grove, Shannon became a major television figure through Beverly Hills, 90210, and Charmed. She also appeared in Heathers, built a strong pop culture identity, and became known for her outspoken personality and resilience. Shannon Doherty passed away on July 13, 2024, at the age of 53, after years of battling cancer, including metastatic breast cancer. Her death brought tributes from fans who had followed her from childhood roles to 1990s television fame. Jenny Wilder remains a tender part of her earliest screen legacy. Shannon gave the role real vulnerability, but her larger impact came from a career that made her one of television's most recognizable women. The cast of Little House on the Prairie may have left Walnut Grove behind, but their warmth, lessons, and unforgettable performances still live on with fans around the world. Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch the next Then and Now video.